Nice.
All right, welcome back to the Breakaway USA show. I'm your host, David. I have Fabian with me today as well. It's the Thursday night stream with the home team. It's
Yes,
good
it
to be
is.
back. Fabian, you were in Colombia, so welcome back.
Yeah, I was in Colombia, and then we had the Growth Talks event last night. So I gave a speech last night. So this is my first day of rest, but we still got the home team Thursday night. So we are going to do it tonight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, on the dock today, we have a lot. We have Tony Bobulinski, testimony in front of Congress. AOC made herself look so dumb about her comment about RICO charges. That's hilarious. We're definitely going to preview that. I got demonetized on YouTube for saying that men essentially cannot get pregnant. How controversial, right? And Fabian actually went on Real America's Voice a few days ago while he was in Colombia to talk about big tech censorship, everything that we're building here in Breakaway USA and how that's associated with that. We got the bloodbath hoax. I mean, all the legacy media was in such a meltdown this weekend. It was honestly so hilarious to see, Fabian, like how they're just making up a hoax out of nowhere. They literally chopped it out of context. We're going to see how MSNBC had their like meltdown over it. And I don't know if you saw this, man, but they're trying to seize. I think they took the first step already to try and seize Trump's assets, which is just crazy. I mean, seriously, you've probably asked yourself this in the last 4 or 5 years with the persecution that we're seeing. Like, are we living in the United States, or is this Venezuela? Is this Cuba? Is this old USSR? Even modern Russia, right? And then today, just like a few hours before we got on the stream, we saw border crisis in full effect, storming the border. Like, I would say, like, haven't seen this footage of January 6th yet. I mean, this is really them storming. So it's crazy. It's wild. But Fabian, it's great to have you, and I'm excited to talk about all these crazy things going on. So, what do you think we should start with? We got a lot.
I think that border. I think the border video was pretty crazy because you had, well, I don't want to give it away, but you just had these people that said screw it, and they just rushed the border. There were so many of them that the border guards couldn't contain them, and then they rushed to the fence. So I didn't see what happened after that. I just saw once they got to the fence. So maybe there's some more video out there. If they were able to stop them. But I mean, yeah, when you're rushing border guards like that, that is something that's endangering their lives. That is a situation that could easily have gone very violent very quickly because all those border guards are armed. And if you're rushing and you're basically attacking border guards, you're putting your hands on border guards. I don't know at what point the border guards said, "Hey, I'm fearing for my life." There's hundreds of them. I think there was only like 10 of us in the video. So things could have gotten really bad, and I think at some point it probably will, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable at this moment, right? Because with the amount of crossings that are happening on a monthly basis, we had Michelle on from Real America's Voice, the show you went on weeks ago or maybe a month ago, that the border crossings for the previous month was the highest ever at 330,000. And that's what they're actually getting in touch with, right? That's not the people that are getting through without being touched by the border patrol and whatnot. So at some point, you're going to have a big concentration of illegal immigrants at the border. And if they're going to see that opportunity to rush at a couple National Guards, I mean, I almost feel like the Biden administration is sending them over there as sitting ducks, right? Because they're not giving them the proper stuff needed in order to combat the crisis at the border. So they're literally just prompting there for theater, maybe for things to get even crazier, because we know they like destabilization. But yeah, man, it's crazy that the chaos at the border is real. And screw any pundit out there that says that this isn't a big issue, regardless what state you live in, regardless, which political party you're part of. You have to look at what's happening at the border with your eyes, not with your ears of what your favorite pundits are telling you, and just see it for yourself. I mean, what we saw today is a catastrophe, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. So it's one of those situations where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? What's a positive for the Biden administration if these border guards open fire on illegal immigrants that are crossing because they feel endangered? Then the entire narrative is going to be the border guards have too much power. They killed people now, so we have to do something to limit their power and their ability to do their job. On the other hand, the conservative movement is going to say this is exactly what we've been saying is going to happen. These people are dangerous. They're here. They're raping. They're pillaging. They're robbing. They're squatting in people's homes, and they're getting more and more brazen because they understand that they have the backing of the federal government behind them, so they can go do things that they normally wouldn't do. Right? When Trump got in office, you hear people all the time. I've spoken to illegal immigrants who've told me, yeah, when Obama was president, we all knew, go to America. When Trump was there, we knew, don't go to America. When Biden got in, they opened the floodgates. So everyone understands what's happening. I was just in Colombia. This is not just a localized issue. This cloud pivot strategy of just inundating countries with illegal immigrants is not only happening here, unfortunately. I was just in Colombia, as you mentioned a second ago, and they were telling me that the Venezuelan immigrants are causing so much havoc and crime in their city that they're having their own issues. And the people I spoke to didn't even know that the same thing was happening here in the US to this extent. So it's not just us dealing with this. This is a concerted effort across all countries.
And people. And just real quickly, we're experiencing the same thing in Central America with everything that you're seeing happening in Haiti. Obviously, a lot of the population in Haiti is trying to flock on over to their neighboring country. Well, they only have one neighboring country, and that's the Dominican Republic. And the Dominican Republic is actually taking action against this invasion, essentially, because I understand there's a big turmoil. It's horrible what's happening in Haiti right now. But because of that, it's essentially the same thing what was happening in Syria, mass illegal immigration coming into Europe. Well, Dominican Republic, they're not a European country. They're not like this stabilized country or something like that. They have their own issues. So more immigration, especially illegal immigration, is going to impact it to the worst. Same situation as you're talking about with Colombia and Venezuela. Same situation as we're experiencing here in America. It's almost like, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but it almost feels like it's part of a plan. It's part of a globalist plan to try and essentially like this white replacement theory, right? It's almost doesn't seem like a theory. It's a fact. Okay. These nations are being flooded with immigrants, and it's happening across the whole the globe. It's crazy. Fabian, you want to maybe play that riot video as well so we can see it?
Yeah. I'll get it queued up in a second. Let me go ahead and find it. Yeah, it's literally in the collaborative pivot strategy. And we know open borders. We know George Soros is a fan of open borders, and he's wrote about that, how he wants this to be the world that because he says that only open borders will provide true. I don't know what he says. It's going to provide. It's going to provide him more power. That's what it'll go ahead and provide him.
Well, yeah, and not to get into like crazy detail, but it's part of a Marxist idea, essentially, that if you can break down the idea of borders, the idea of nation states, then everybody's going to be equal. Well, in reality, that takes away the sovereignty of the nation. So, but yeah, let's play this clip because this was crazy. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this.
So this is look at that. Look at that.
That's just crazy.
Wow, it's like a zombie apocalypse.
I know, right? Am I watching remember that movie with Brad Pitt, Zombie Z or something?
World
like
War
that?
Z. This is exactly what it's like.
Yeah,
this is exactly what it's like.
And so all of a sudden it makes sense, Trump's border wall, doesn't it?
So it looks like this was maybe, so they had broken the barbed wire fence and they were trying to stop them from getting to the other fence.
Yep. kidding me?
That's wild.
Are you kidding me? I mean,
That is
seriously, look,
wild.
and again, to all the news outlets that for months and maybe years at this point have just turned their backs on this. I mean, that's just disgraceful. Seriously, this is the result of failure by the Biden administration to address a real crisis that not Democrat constituents, sorry, Democrat mayors and House members along the border states 2-3 years ago were complaining about this, and they haven't done a single thing about this. They just kicked the can down the road. They've let 8 million illegal immigrants into this country that we know of. Again, this doesn't account for everything outside of border patrols, like things, and they just flood all the problems with fentanyl and drug overdoses. All of that is a result of Democrats' failure, and they're on the ballot this year. So take it seriously, guys. Seriously.
Yeah. Travis said they need to electrify that fence. I mean, look, the embassies don't mess around. The embassies have tons of countermeasures for people coming in and somewhere they're not supposed to be. They have directed energy weapons that basically burn the top layer of your skin and make you feel like you're burning so you can't attack anymore. They have so many ways to repel people trying to get somewhere. And I get it. Texas is, and I think that happened in Texas. I don't know where exactly it happened, but I get it that they're trying to be humane. An offense and a few other items you can work without showing that they're being overpowering, overbearing, but you're basically limiting, you're tying your own hands to do what you need to do because of the way it's going to look if you use certain countermeasures to stop people from getting over the border fence.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, seriously, they need to do something. And this whole border bill funding thing that they proposed in the Senate, I believe it was, that is now stalled in the House. It's BS. It's not doing anything. It's putting more money to custom border patrol, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is that we have a problem rooted in policy when it comes down to asylum seekers. And if any individual under the sun can come to America because America is incredibly amazing, justifying it because of asylum seeking, I mean, it's going to be a mess. Seriously, it's a mess.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bozos making decisions at the White House. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I've said this before. It's like the kids. It's like the parents have gone away for the weekend and the kids have total control of the house. Biden doesn't even know where he's at. He doesn't know how to get off stage. These people, these super leftist, liberal, neo-Marxist people who are actively trying to destroy the country are in charge of the White House. You literally have the enemy in the White House. It's really sad to say that, but there's people that are running the country that their job is to destroy the country. That's what they want to do. Their job is not to do it, but that's what they're doing. And
Exactly.
yeah,
The problem is that they're
November.
not gone for the weekend. This has been a 3.5 years ordeal now. You know what I mean? This is,
Yeah,
oh my God. But
it's kind of sad to
talking
see
about,
how
go ahead.
I was going to say it's sad to see how fast someone can destroy the government when they actually really want to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. When there's intention behind it, it's very achievable. I was going to say
Mm.
that, talking about bozos, why don't we go next to the bloodbath hoax?
On the
Because
bloodbath host, yeah, that was
yeah, I mean, for those that don't know, but by now you've probably known, and you've probably said bloodbath more in the last week than you've ever used in your entire life. Yeah, basically, President Trump was at a rally and he was talking about the auto industry and what would happen if essentially Democrats win again in November. And if they do win in November, he said that it would be a bloodbath regarding the auto industry. Well, of course, your favorite legacy media chopped that up into the craziest way possible. And then every single news outlet, I think, in the world ran with the headline that Trump is calling for a bloodbath. He's saying that if he doesn't win the election in 2024, it's going to be a bloodbath, essentially framing it in a way that he's kind of calling for his supporters to bring on a bloodbath. But realistically, it wasn't anywhere close to that. But of course, because Trump derangement syndrome is so contagious around individuals with the woke mind virus, we ended up seeing some funny stuff on MSNBC. So why don't we roll this clip?
Yes,
Fabian?
we did.
These idiots on Twitter, these idiots on cable news, these idiots on Sunday shows going, well, yeah, well, presidents, you know, he was talking only about the auto industry, and this is one more. It's just bullshit. Let me say that at 6:15 a.m. It's just bullshit. He knew what he was doing. We're not stupid. Americans aren't stupid. He was talking about a bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means a bloodbath. And when he finishes by saying, and that's just going to be the least of it, seriously, these people may be stupid. We're not. He's talking about a blood.
Well, guess what? I guess I'm one of those Twitter idiots that just actually sees the entire context of things and knows Trump at this point. I mean, the funny thing, I think, Fabian, and maybe you agree with me at this, is that they try to spin what Trump says so much. And look, we're 7 years into doing this. Nobody's buying this stuff. The people in the middle understand what you're doing. So you're not able to shift them around. And we don't have to talk about the opposing sides, the base versus the people that absolutely hate them. You're not getting into anybody. What you're actually doing is just hurting the country more, in my opinion, by continuing polarizing people, by making them believe this stuff. Because next thing you know, in like 2-3 years, you're going to run into your crazy liberal aunt and she's going to say, remember that bloodbath thing? And you're going to say, come on now, aunt. And that happens over and over with the Russia gate, with the Hunter Biden laptop, everything around that. What do you think, Fabian?
It's not working anymore. The polls show it's not working anymore. Culture's shifting. People are tired of it. People are waking up. They've woken up. They're tired of the bozos in the White House. And the legacy media doesn't know what to do because everything they've always done has always worked up until now. And the fact that this was trending everywhere on Twitter. So the fact that they could not control the narrative, that they got called out and all these massive pages, and then everyone else started retweeting the same thing. And it was so easy to get the original video that had the correct context for you to make up your own mind. Elon was talking about it. I mean, everybody was talking about it. Legacy media cannot do what they have been doing anymore because of specifically places like X, and they don't know what to do. This was a very large win for rejecting the media's narrative, the legacy media's narrative, and proving them false and basically making fun of them. Because Joe Scarborough looks like an idiot to anyone who is not brainwashed already. And it's going to keep doing that. And, one thing that I had mentioned a few times before is how the government used up all its political money bags that it had in trust in the people. And no one trusts anything they say anymore. And I think that's a good thing.
It is. It definitely is. Why do you think that they're trying to do this? Because they know that, like you said, we have X now. They're not really able to control the narrative as much as they can anymore because of platforms like X, because of Rumble as well, because of just basic allowance of freedom of speech. They know they're not going to be able to convince the right. They're not going to be able to sway the left to hate Trump anymore in a manner that will get them more more votes or anything like that. It seems like it's pure deception. Why would they engage in this deception?
The only thing I can think of is, like you said, they're not going to get any Trump voters to switch over to Biden. Not going to happen. They understand that. I think they have to electrify their far left base so much that they go out and vote in droves in November. And what that means is getting them to hate Trump even more and more with the narrative that they're pushing to the few people that are still watching the legacy media. Because one thing about the fringes of either party is that they are very vocal and they vote. So I think that's what they're trying to drive this wedge between anyone on the left and anyone else even deeper to get them to vote in November because they know what the polls say.
It's crazy how like blatant they are with their lies, though, and it's I get the idea of wanting to energize that far base, right? And because that is the most politically active one or side of the party always. But it's just crazy to me. I mean, they've done Russiagate, they've done every hoax, Justice Smollett, they've done every hoax under the sun, and it's wild to me that they just continue trying to propagate these different narratives that are obviously just so easy to debunk. And I don't know if you saw, but like President Trump was actually on Sebastian Gorka's show a couple days ago,
Hmm.
and he was talking about President Trump was talking about that just the notion that if you're an American Jew that is voting for Democrats, then you're actually going against your religion. You're actually, backstabbing Judaism in a way. And again, MSNBC, NBC News, they just all ran the Rolling Stones. They all ran with that and made such a crazy headline. But if you actually break it down, the left is the one that's more anti-Israel. The left is the one that's home to the pro-Hamas group, right? The four bozos, congresswomen, or whatever they want to identify at that moment. I should probably shut up before I get completely removed from from YouTube. But yeah, and then again, Trump has done more things for Israel than anybody has. Conservative wise, the Republicans are way more conservative, which aligns with Judaism. So in a way, he's absolutely right. But instead of getting into the details of it, into the dialogue of it, when you read these articles, it's hit pieces after hit pieces after hit pieces. And it's so disgusting. They've devalued what journalism is all about. They're all activists at this point. There's no true journalism going on anymore. And this bloodbath hoax is one of the latest ways that you can see that they're just propagating the same stuff. They just want to manipulate, decept, energize, whatever it is. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, they're on their last throws. Legacy media is dying. Joe Rogan is a clip today. I mean, I don't know if it was from today, but I saw it today, where he's talking to his guest and they're making fun of CNN. They're like, CNN had something called the Anderson Cooper Book Club, and it was $10 a month, and nobody bought it. And he's like, "Why the hell would you want to know what Anderson Cooper's reading?" He's like, "This is the dumbest thing ever." And apparently,
Exactly.
I don't know if this is true. I haven't verified this, but he said something. I believe he said that they had to end their streaming service.
They did.
Something.
They did. CNN, for some odd reason, decided that they should launch like CNN Plus, which was a subscription-based model. And nobody already watches CNN. So can I ask you, as a business, if you're not getting the traction that you want to, why are you going? And it's free. You can watch CNN free. Why are you going to launch a subscription-based model to try and save you? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
And it's like, hey, you guys, you get this for free, but guess what? Now you can pay for it. So now you now you get to pay for something you don't watch anyway. Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's what an idea, right? And here's the thing: is news should be free for people. You shouldn't have it. You shouldn't have to pay to get information. I mean, it's pretty common sense. If you have to pay for information, then it incentivizes the people who are giving you the information to put it in such a way that they can make even more money off you.
Well,
So
have you met Don Lemon?
Oh, Don Lemon is that's a whole other wow.
So you get fired from CNN, you get hired by Elon Musk, which is the same thing as we are live on Breakaway USA on Twitter right now. It's the same thing. Nobody hired you. And then you demand a Cybertruck, $5 million in advance plus the $6 million annual equity in Twitter. What is wrong with these people? Nobody already watches you. There's a funny tweet. They said this orange will probably get more views than Don Lemon's show on Twitter. And it did. And it did. But again, these people live in some fantasy world.
Yeah,
seriously.
absolutely correct.
They call themselves
correct.
fantasy world. They live in some fantasy world. They call themselves journalists when they're actually activists. It's all backwards for these people.
Yeah, and this is really good for people like Don Lemon and all of his little lemmings, the lemmings, to figure out that hey, people don't actually like you because you lived in this little bubble in CNN and everyone told you yes, and you were the top dog and you thought everyone liked you because everyone told you that the people in your company told you that everyone liked you. Now you're in the real world, baby. You're with the people who actually know what's going on, and to demand that. You have to be in such a place that you think you're above everything else, that you're worth that much money. You got knocked down, Don Lemon, many pegs, and now you're realizing what the real world is like, where people don't like you. And it's not because of you being black or gay, like he's trying to say now. It's because you're just unlikable and you're stupid and you say false things. Like, it's not rocket science. You get out of your little bubble It's a real world, baby cakes. It's not easy, or else everyone would be doing it.
That's funny. Well, let's take a second from the bozos and shout out our sponsor. We've both drinking our Freedom water right now. Freedom 2.0. Man, I just love having these water bottles with me. Funny slogans on them. Today, mine's not so funny. It's more true that freedom to speak is freedom to drink. I like it. But great water company. Water's great. Fabian, you might have all the details about why the water is better and
Because
whatnot.
it doesn't have fluoride, so it doesn't make you gay.
Boom. There you go. That's our little punchline there. But go grab yourself a case. I love this stuff, whether you want to give this to your liberal aunt, or I don't want to say uncle because it doesn't seem like there's many liberal uncles, but that crazy little liberal aunt that you may have, this would be a funny gift to give her. You want to have it for yourself, for your friends. Please go and cop one right now. Freedom20.com. Use Breakaway coupon to save 15% on your case, on multiple cases, whatever it is, guys. Love this company, support it. You guys see, we actually drink it. We don't promote things that we don't use. So I love this stuff.
Yeah, and what I like about them is they're actually sponsoring a lot of people in the conservative movement. People like Adam Vina. Like, man, that story is incredible. What he's going through with his son. And if you don't know Adam Vina, he's an incredible human being. He was fighting for control. He was fighting for custody of his son. Mother was converting the boy into a girl. He's transitioning. He's been through a lot. And they were trying to fire him from his job now because he was making videos talking about what's happening. And there's people that didn't like that were reaching out to his job. He worked for the city and trying to get him fired. So I love that now Freedom Water is sponsoring him because that's someone who should be sponsored. They're also sponsoring Mason Deschamps, who was a pro-life Spider-Man. He literally climbs these massive, tall buildings without a rope, without any climbing gear, to save babies' lives. So they're doing the right thing. They're sponsoring the people that are trying to do good in the world. So check them out, guys. Your dollars are going to very good use, and you're getting great quality water out of it as well. They also have this really cool little spray bottle for $3 that you can use, spray liberal tears. So definitely get yourself some.
It's awesome. So speaking of freedom, why don't we talk about what recently happened to myself, and that impacts everybody in a sense, right? Because I got demonetized on YouTube. They tagged a different reason, but it coincidentally came at the same time that I said that men cannot get pregnant. And we know that is very controversial and very offensive nowadays to the overall society and public of YouTube, it seems like. But what can you do? You can't control most things. But because there are great companies like Freedom 2.0 and media outlets like Real America's Voice actually contacted us and got Fabian to go on a segment that same day to shine light about my situation and the overall censorship that we face here at Breakaway USA, all the contributors, on a daily basis. And I think Fabian highlighted this very incredibly. I don't want to give it away too much, but Fabian, why don't we pull up my tweet real quickly so we can watch the video that I did that got me banned. And obviously I went to Twitter and I got a pretty nice amount of a lot of attention over that. So let's play that video.
True or false? Only women get pregnant.
True.
True.
True. True.
Very true.
Absolutely true.
False.
False. Because there are trans people that exist, and trans men can also be pregnant as well.
False.
And what are your pronouns?
They, them.
That I just love oversimplifications.
Nope, I'm not doing this today. You hear that question and you think to yourself, what a ridiculous statement. Of course, men cannot get pregnant. And then comes that inclusive crowd who somehow, some way believes that a man with a penis can give birth.
True or...
All right. I like how you emphatically stated the word penis at the very end.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, if you really think about it and if you really want to run with this ideology, and if I had a YouTube dump button, I'd press it right now because this will probably fully ban me, but I'm gonna say it anyways. A lot of people came into my, okay, how this all happened essentially. I just posted the video. I checked it an hour later. It already had 50,000 views. I've never had a video explode that fast on YouTube. With that came a lot of hurtful liberal tears in the comments. So I took it to the comment section and I started fighting with these liberals, but using common sense, in a sense that I would say, hey, let me know whenever you piss a baby out of your penis. And that's the whole idea that I took behind this, because if you're going to be this ridiculous about it, might as well answer to us why it's, answer these questions, essentially give us the scenario of what it's like. And people went into the long, obviously the idea is that trans men, women who are, I don't even want to say biological women, because Riley Gaines actually taught me this, those just cancel each other out. But women who pretend to be men are somehow able to give birth and that qualifies as a man giving birth. That's the whole mental gymnastics performed there. So obviously, you know, with the whole woke society right now and ESGs being enforced on companies like Google, which own YouTube, of course, they're going to be more LGBTQ friendly or whatever it is, and not going to allow me to say this very inclusive stuff. So yeah, but it was so cool that Real America's Voice hit you up, Fabian. So tell us a little bit about that, and we can watch that as well.
Yeah, it's by the way, I don't want you're streaming on YouTube, but you just got demonetized, so I mean, I don't know if they can do anything else other than if you're already demonetized. So
exactly,
but I'll try to keep it clean. Yeah, so you know, they wanted to talk about the censorship that we deal with every single day. Right now, I'm so shadow banned on Instagram right now. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I can show you, I can't do anything. I can't go live. Can't do anything. Basically, just use it. Can't collaborate with anybody. So it's just one of these things that we deal with every day, and the algorithm changes every day. And now you have this new oversight board. You have a Instagram oversight board where if you want to contest any of your content that was removed, you have to submit an appeal, and they will choose which cases get brought to their attention. It's like the Supreme Court. They don't have to approve you to even look at you. So you have to file a new case for every video removed or every piece of content removed. And you have to fill out a bunch of information. So now you're spending an ungodly amount of time just trying to submit yourself before this oversight board. And the oversight board is looking down on you like a peasant, saying, if you want to look at it, we will. And if we don't, then we won't. So it's just getting content creators to waste more and more time trying to get their stuff back, and then them not even doing anything. So that's what, now, unfortunately, this oversight board came out a day after I had the interview, so I didn't know about the oversight board, but the appeals process is basically the same thing.
And here's the funny thing about it is that the person that's sitting behind a screen that you're appealing to is a DEI hire. So if you're a conservative, there's a big chance that you're not getting appealed, you're not going to get accepted, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We can pull this up here. And I'll go ahead and play it.
Quite a lot of times, and of course we have the rest of the group here as well. Fabian, YouTube offers the chance. Fabian Garcia for more on this. Fabian has also been censored quite a lot of times, and of course we have the rest of the group here as well. Fabian, YouTube offers the chance for conservative creators to redeem themselves. That's if they take re-education courses. I understand that's what David was offered as well.
Wow. Yeah, this is something that we deal with all the time. We started Breakaway USA to highlight issues like this. And now the censorship is getting stricter and stricter to the point where you can't even express yourself, even if you tell the truth. And it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Are you only on YouTube, or have you made the move with the transition over to Rumble?
We are everywhere. We are everywhere because we don't know what tomorrow can bring. They can change the terms of service and we can be deleted off that app on any given day. So we try to be in as many places to reach as many people as we possibly can.
And I'm assuming you have a lot of fans that have come to your defense. What are they saying?
It's something where we're trying to figure out what to do. But the people, once they learn that this is happening, they get angry as well. a lot of people don't understand what's happening, but we are showing them the censorship. I literally post, and we all post Instagram, what it tells us, what we get stuff removed for. And when people read that, they can't believe it. They go, is that really what's happening? This is my day-to-day life. This is what I'm fighting for. They will censor you. Not only that, but they will limit your reach. They will do everything possible. Even if you post correct information and cite the sources, their independent fact checkers, quote unquote, will say that you said something that you didn't say, and you can't appeal it. You can appeal it, but they don't have to respond to you.
Yeah. What are some of the social media platforms that you find have the greatest free speech that do not censor you as much?
It's going to be X and Rumble. Those are the ones that we find that we don't have anything removed off. And thank God for places like X, because it's been incredible what the world has been experiencing since Elon bought it, maybe just over a year ago or so. Things are really opening up. So definitely X and Rumble. Those are the two places that you can go where you don't have to worry about anything at all. But the algorithm on all the other platforms is something that changes daily. You never know where you're going to wake up to. You never know when you're going to be, deleted off. And, being a first generation born Cuban American, I grew up with my grandmother telling me how communist Cuba did exactly this. David, as well, his parents are from the Soviet Union. So we have firsthand experience understanding what this is going to lead to. I mean, China did it. Cuba did it. All of these countries did it. They're arresting people over in England for freedom of speech issues, in Ireland, all over the world. And now it's come here. And we're on the brink of something very detrimental to the country. And if we lose the freedom of speech that we fought so hard to get, I don't know if we'll ever get it back because of the technologies that they have now.
Wow. I mean, what a stud, like Gentry says right there in the side. But Fabian, that is awesome. Seriously. And first of all, you killed it straight from Colombia.
So, while I was in Colombia, it was very hot that day. But yeah, just it's something that we deal with every day. And people that start watching what's happening through our stories and through our social media, if you don't deal with it every day like we do, but you see what we deal with, a lot of people are just like, damn, that's a lot of work just to wake up every day and fight with people who are nameless, faceless, who you never know what they're going to do. And it's just something that we deal with every day. So like at platforms like X, Rumble, and you have like things like Getter or Truth Social, which I'm not personally on, but I probably should get on them, are places where don't care about any of that stuff. And that's how it should all be.
Guys, and this is why you probably go on 4 different social media apps and then see us streaming on every single one of those, is because we don't know when they're going to take us off. And like Fabian, like you just said and highlighted perfectly, we don't know who we're talking to. And 90% of the time, it feels like, again, it's either a DEI hire or it's just artificial intelligence. It's literally not a human behind the screen that's dealing with our appeal, review or whatever it is. And Fabian, you know this. I mean, every time we write an appeal, we're just submitting an appeal. There's no comments that we can add in there to reason with them or any of this stuff. It literally feels essentially like we're cornered in this. And that's why it's so important to have more Elon Musks like that. Because if we can change the conversation on social media, look how powerful what we've already done with Twitter, for example. Elon Musk bought Twitter and they're going berserk about it. They're trying to sue him left and right, trying to take his social media right away and whatnot, simply because he's given a place where conservatives can have a voice. And you don't even have to be a conservative. You've probably all sorts of political ideology have been censored before. And that's, I think, the thing that brings all of us together at the end of the day, because I'm one of those people that believes that, like, as bad as what you may say will be, I rather publicly hear it than you just not be able to say it, because I rather know, okay, this person thinks this person thinks that. And I don't know, that's how I go about things.
Yeah, they're trying to take away everything from anyone who says anything that they don't want. With us, we're dealing with censorship and having our social media accounts being taken away. With Trump, he's dealing with having his assets taken away literally right now. So it's the same game plan. It's just the stakes change depending on what you do and what they want to do to you.
Yeah, exactly. You brought up a perfect next topic that we're going to cover here. It's them trying to seize Trump's assets. Now, by now you probably know that Trump was fined crazy amount of money for zero damages incurred. This was the New York case where they said that he essentially manipulated the market. He inflated the prices of the assets or whatever it is. But there was zero injury, meaning the bank received its loan back and on top of that received the interest rate. So it's happy. The people who are leasing the spaces or whatever it is, they're happy about it. There's not a single person in this charge that had any injuries incurred. So anybody that looks at the AG running for office and sees that she says that she's literally campaigning on the fact that she's going to take down Trump, uses an insane criminal statute to take him down, weighing back to like 30 years or something like that. And now on top of like the fine that like she wanted like a certain amount of money and the judge afforded her like 3 or 4 times the amount of money that she requested. On top of that, daily interest rates or interest while Trump is actually appealing the judgment. That's the crazy thing about it, is that while he's in the appeal process, every day that he's not paying this fine, it's incurring more interest. So they can't collect the money there. They can't do that. What are they going to do next? They're going for his assets. And we heard that a couple days ago. But now, literally today, a few hours ago, she took the first step in order to seize those assets. And of course, billionaires that have made a bunch of money in New York City and still do, they can't even fathom it. They're trying to take everything out of New York now because of what they're seeing happen to Trump. It's a scary precedent. So obviously somebody like Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, came out to the airwaves and literally went to CNN and said, what the hell is going on? So I think we have that clip.
Yeah, here's a crazy thing. You will own nothing and be happy. The globalist elite want to own everything and rent it back to you like a neo-feudalist type society where the kings and queens own all the land. What better way to do that than to literally take everything from the people who have the most and say, if you speak up against us, we're gonna give you the same treatment as Donald Trump. Imagine if Trump has all his assets seized. Mar-a-Lago goes to the government. All of his golf courses go to the government. The government can that's by de facto taking all of your land with a piece of paper and just saying that we determined that you owe us this exorbitant amount of money. And I get what they're doing. They're trying to set a precedent so that any other billionaire that does anything similar, they can take their land. Imagine this. Elon Musk goes through something sort of the same where they say you did this, so therefore we're going to give you $1 billion fine. You can't pay $1 billion. Well, we're going to take SpaceX from you.
Yep. Or take Twitter from you.
Or take Twitter from you. That is the route that we're going down. This is not going to end. This is just the first case where they've never instituted a fee or a fine that's almost $500 million. It's never happened in the history of law, ever. And now they're moving so quickly to take everything from him, to make an example of him. But I said this in my Twitter status. If you want to ensure a democratic loss, do this to Trump. Because this is only going to infuriate every single business owner, every single entrepreneur, every single person who is trying to make their lives better and succeed. They're going to say, I can do all this. And then if I say the wrong thing, or the government can come in and just take everything they want just because they made up an arbitrary number that I have to pay. Like, no, come on, man. Come on.
It's absolutely crazy. This is actually the Tony Bobulinski clip. There's let's see, it should be, yeah, there you go.
It's about New York. It's about the American brand. It's about what we promised the world in terms of fairness and justice and investing capital in a country that's built the largest economy on earth. Forfeiture, seizing of assets. Is that in our nomenclature in America? Is that what we tell people that want to bring their money here and protect property rights? Forget about Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. You think this is good for business in New York? You think this is good for business in America? To take a law that we used to protect people against buying refrigerators at an overpriced value decades ago and apply it against an individual, and then talk about seizing assets like it was in Venezuela or in Cuba. This is
Well, let me
a
ask-
very, very, very bad look for New York. And everybody around the world is watching this. This may be
Well,
great for the
Kevin,
Attorney General, but this is
I
not
hear
good for
you.
America.
But in terms of evaluation, can you be clear as to why? I mean, why would the properties not be sufficient collateral?
What a great message to send out all around the world. Take a claim where there was no monies lost. There was no fraud here in the context of actually people losing money. Deutsche Bank, who made the loan, was made whole. And let's make a penalty of $500 million against a crime, apparently, where no monies were lost. Great message for New York. Great message for America. Bring your capital because we'll protect your property. I think that was a statement that would be much better made sometime in Venezuela. I'm not kidding. That's a scary, scary message. And by the way, there are no such thing as $500 million bonds. There are no $500 million bonds. Never been done before. Never. This law has never been applied. Forget about Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. Everything to do about America and the New York brand. I love this state. My children live here. A horrible message to everybody around the world watching this. Absolutely horrific.
Well,
This
wait,
case
Kevin,
goes
Kevin,
way
but
past
hold on a
Trump.
second, Kevin.
Trump
What
will
would
be
be
gone one day. This
hold on a
attorney
second.
general will be gone one day, and this
I
is
have a
what you want to
wonderful
tell
voice,
people
and
around
it
the
won't
world.
be talked
This
over.
is how we
Kevin
treat money
O'Leary,
in America.
I would like to
This
hear what you have to
is
say,
not
but
America.
what are you doing?
Not America.
But it's not America, but it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Mr. Wonderful comes in hot always.
Yeah, I like how he speaks slowly and enunciates everything. He gives everything a lot of credence and a lot of weight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Same here. But I mean, he's on point here. I mean, one thing Democrats don't think about is what happens after this. They're so short term, like, I don't know, goal oriented, that they forget about what comes after this. What will happen to the precedent set here? And then sometimes I just think about it. Maybe that is their goal at the end of the day. If their goal is to erode the United States and to tear it down and whatever it is that they have in their mind, then what's a better way than to start at these big, beautiful cities, once were beautiful cities, kind of the staple of the United States. I mean, when I was living in Israel, when I would hear about United States, I would think about two things: New York City, and I would think about Los Angeles. Well, these two cities conveniently now are the not the example of the United States that we want it to be. Homeless issues, this political persecution that you're seeing, sanctuary cities, right? I mean, this is just crazy. And it's so sad to see with New York City, because I mean, you guys saw this. So many people left California and New York to come to Florida because of COVID restrictions, because of not being able to take this homelessness issue that's on the streets anymore. This essentially these district attorneys that are not willing to prosecute real criminals and keep them in jail and off the streets. It's sad to see happen to such once beautiful and big standard cities of the United States.
Yeah, a bunch of bozos. That's what I call them. I mean, anyone with half a mind can see like what in the hell they're doing, and no one likes it unless you're this fringe left, ultra left. You understand this is complete stupidity. This is completely illogical.
Mm-hmm.
So the Democrats are losing people every day that they go on with this horse and pony show. Everyone knows what they're doing. Now, have they gotten enough illegal immigrants in the country that are going to be able to vote to sway the election? Because they see that, I mean, there's some battleground states that I think Trump is up like 9 points or something crazy like that. I don't know if it's a battleground state, but I saw a poll. He's up 9 points in one of the polls. Who the hell is telling them that this is the right way to go, that this is the way to win the election? You already have the far lefties that are starting to abandon Joe Biden because of the whole Palestine issue. But who are they going to go vote for? RFK? You know, he's anti-vax. So like, what are you going to do? I mean, obviously, we all know what they're going to try to do is have Joe Biden step down, or something's going to happen to him, and then here comes a convention, and they're going to nominate Michelle Obama, Big Mike, or whatever, or Kamala Harris. But gosh, she's so unpopular. If you listen to what even the head of counter cybersecurity of the FBI or someone, whoever James O'Keefe duped into telling him all of this information. He said everyone hates Kamala Harris. He goes, all the black people that work for her quit. They can't stand her. So you have a wildly unpopular and wildly unintellectual vice president. You have a wildly unpopular and old president. And then you have Michelle Obama. And you have Gavin Newsom, who are just waiting in the wings. Michelle said multiple times, I'm not going to run for president. I saw what I did to my husband. Okay, sure. Then you have
wait. What did it do besides make him more rich?
Exactly.
It turned him from a nobody known senator, first term senator, to a president who then became a multimillionaire or something like that. I forgot what it was, but what did it do to your husband?
Yeah. It's just a charade. And again, people are waking up. Everyone understands what's going on. They can't slide this past people anymore. And I love to see that people are waking up, that they've woken up, and now they're just fed up with this crap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. I don't know how much longer they can take this. And it seems like the sensible individuals that don't allow politics to really define their life and whatnot are coming into realization that this isn't a political thing anymore. It's just about destruction or preservation, because one side wants to destruct and destroy everything that America has ever been known for in terms of 1990s, 2000s, even 2010, right? But and then the other side is just trying to keep America or make America great again. It's pretty much that simple, guys. But Fabian, anything else before we come up to the finale here with Tony Bobolinsky and AOC being dumb?
Oh my gosh, that lady is something else. I would get her, Kamala Harris, all the pro-Somali, whatever, I forget her name. I don't even want to understand or know her name, and all these other bozos, and just honestly have them eat rocks. Yeah, that one, and just have them honestly just have them kick rocks.
Yeah,
put them in a Squid Game type situation. See who survives.
Did you see what happened in that Ohio district on election night the other night?
Yeah, with this guy's doing everything in Somalian.
He ran a full campaign based on the idea of to make Somalia great again, essentially. And he fully campaigned on the idea that he's Somalia first. I don't understand. And when you watch that watch party, like you said, Fabian, he spoke 0 words in English. It was a full thank you speech, like whatever winning speech and whatnot, full in Somalian or whatever language they speak there. But yeah, crazy what's happening, huh? I mean, it's right in front of your face. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's why voting is so important, because think about, I mean, I don't know what the stats are overall, but what percent of the population votes? Is it just like 30% or something like that?
It's something very small. Based overall population, it's small, but based on the eligible participation, I think it's like something around like 40% or 50%.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the power of voting. It's like you need to wash out the stupidity by having people actually vote. Some of these most races that are not federal are won by literally a few thousand votes.
Yeah.
And that's here in California. That's here in I live in Los Angeles, and I saw people winning seats with like 4,000 votes, 5,000 votes. I'm like, what is going on? Like, no one's voting, or they're just voting for the main ones, right? For the big headliners. How easy. And now I see what George Soros was doing this whole time. He was just like, I could just get a bunch of judges and just spend like $100,000 each and get a bunch of judges put in office, or I can spend $100 million to try to get a president in office. Like, where's the best value for your money? So
what's my best ROI?
What's my best ROI? Yeah, absolutely.
That's wild. And it's perfectly. We're setting ourselves up for our last topic here with Tony Bobolinsky. the CCP has a lot of influence, it seems like, on this current administration, because we have a clear difference of foreign policy approach between the Trump administration being really hawkish on China versus this administration being very weak on China, not really confronting China. And perhaps that's their foreign policy approach. But there is some business dealings related to the Biden family and China, Ukraine, Russia. That's hilarious. That's in both both sides, right? Fund both sides of it. But obviously, so yesterday, Tony Bobulinski, for those who don't know, that's one of the business partners of what's his name, Hunter Biden, and I believe this has to do with Burisma related business, maybe not, but he essentially heard Joe Biden plenty of times be used on the phone to essentially have influence when it comes down to business dealings. Like Hunter Biden would meet up with, let's say, CCP related businesses and investors, and he would say, look at how direct of access I have to Vice President Joe Biden at the time. So he'd call him, boom, Tony Bobulinski, his partner, he would be there. He's now a witness. So he obviously became public about his thing. So he testified in front of the House, I believe, Oversight Committee yesterday, or Judiciary Committee. And we got some excellent clips from it. We got Tony Bobulinski's opening statement where he says, we just need to figure out why or how the CCP infiltrated this current White House. And we also got AOC looking dumb. So I'll leave it up to you, Fabian, to decide what you want to play first.
Yeah, well, let's hear the man with the best last name I've ever heard, Bobulinski. It just sounds like I want pasta now. Yeah, I just want to eat pasta after I watch this video.
Nom, nom, nom,
Let me pull this guy up here.
About Mr. Goldman, we don't pay any attention to Mr. Goldman either, but is there anything that anyone said up here that you want to take about 55 seconds to respond to?
55 seconds.
It's tempting. I mean, my biggest appeal to everyone in this room is I wish you would spend the time focusing on the fact that the Chinese Communist Party infiltrated the White House of the United States of America through the Biden family. I don't say that lightly. It's not a joke. I was willing to die for this country, as was my father and both my grandfathers and my brother. This is serious, serious stuff. We should be asking how that happened. Take the Biden name and the Biden family completely out of it. How did the Chinese Communist Party infiltrate the White House of the United States of America? Let's start there, focus on those facts, what they did, how they did it, why they used money, why they used private enterprises instead of military stuff and other stuff. That is huge to our national security. So I appreciate you yielding that time to me, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you. And I'll just say this, Mr. Tlaib and Ms. Presley criticized the investigation, but I think most Americans care about public corruption, and they realize the FBI hasn't done the job, that DOJ hasn't done their job, the IRS hasn't done their job. They've been told to stand down. All that's left is the House Oversight Committee, and we will do our job. And pursuant to the previous order, because votes have been called again, the committee stands in recess subject to the call of the chair. The committee will reconvene 5 minutes after floor vote.
All right. Well,
That was wild.
I know, right? But I mean, it's just crazy. And look, this obviously Tony Bobulinski has faced some criticism. When I say some, I put it very lightly, but it's very authentic. I mean, nobody disputes a couple of these facts. The first fact is that he was Hunter Biden's business partner. The fact that Joe Biden was on the phone multiple times in front of Tony Bobulinski, in front of all these executives during these meetings and whatnot. And the bank records are pretty dang clear that 10% was going to the big guy, and the big guy just so happened to be VP Joe Biden at the time, now your current president. So these couple facts are indisputable, regardless of what way anybody tries to spin this.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to be able to find something that someone did at some point. They're going to say, look, use a straw man argument. Well, he did that thing that one time, so therefore he's never going to be a good person ever for the rest of his life. Like, that's the most stupid thing, right? I was when I was in Colombia, a buddy of mine, he was at Nobu Malibu, and he texted me, he said, dude, Hunter Biden's literally here at Nobu Malibu meeting with someone. I said, oh, that's interesting. So this guy just he's not scared of anything. He doesn't care about anything. He's out having nice dinners at Malibu, a fancy place right off the beach with who knows who. So I like that he's being exposed. I got shadow banned because I posted a picture from Hunter Biden's laptop on Instagram on my story. They said it was sexual nudity. And I said, this is the president's son. That was my appeal to them. And obviously they didn't remove the shadow ban, but they removed the content. It just highlights how absurd and stupid all of this stuff is when you can't even post a picture of the president's son that was on his laptop. That is a real thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
hit it right on the head.
We live in a banana republic where like congresswomen think that RICO is not a charge. It's not a criminal charge that it needs to, and I mean, this is crazy stuff. So obviously what I'm talking about is AOC looking like a dummy that she is. I just got a message that Instagram disconnected. I thought they banned us for a second, but no, it's just an hour on Instagram. But yeah, AOC was just looking very, very dumb when it came down to trying to press on Tony Bobulinski and his testimony and whatnot. So yeah, I think we have this video queued up. It's just it's hilarious on its own.
Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a
Did you
deal,
witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO, and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir?
You
specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is
it's a category of crimes that you're then charged.
You have charges.
A long 100.
You have charges. Sir, please
name the exact statute under RICO.
Yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 8
All right, sir. I reclaim my
lawyers that went to law school.
I reclaim my
So I think that's hilarious. And look, he did say corruption. I don't think he named a specific act for it. And then he said RICO, and then he said FARA. And I think the funny thing about that is that she stuck to RICO instead of FARA. FARA is Foreign Agent Registration Act, because that is the biggest crime, in my opinion, that Hunter Biden breached here. You want to do this stuff? Cool, whatever. Be a registered foreign agent then if you want to do business with Ukraine, Russia, China, Iran, I think at some point he was even doing. So, I mean, it's hilarious. AOC classically letting her emotions supersede reality, which happens often to the left, right? They always like to allow their bull BS supersede reality. But I love these hearings for that simple fact. And shout out to C-SPAN for always televising this stuff. And if it wasn't for Twitter, if it wasn't for some of these social media platforms besides Twitter, we wouldn't probably see this stuff, because these hearings are 3, 4, 5 hours long. But shout out to C-SPAN and shout out to everybody that actually watches this stuff, because then we get awesome entertainment like this.
Yeah, it's just sheer stupidity. I mean, sheer stupidity. There's really not much I can say other than that lady is sheer stupidity embodied in a person. It's just ridiculous. And I get it. Everyone wants a little clip that they can play for the supporters and say, "Look, I'm fighting for you. Look at this, 30-second clip." And a lot of times in these hearings, the questions and the responses are set up to get those little mini headlines, right? To get clicks, to get visibility, to say, "Oh, well, it's going to be easier for me to get more Twitter followers and get reelected the next time, or get more money in the door because people are going to watch me be cool and be sassy." And then you hit Tony Bobulinski, and he just basically says, like, there's a bunch of lawyers, there's 8 lawyers here, and everyone knows that these are crimes. So, yeah, I hope I never see AOC in person, because it's just there's a few people who just annoy the crap out of me every time I see them, every time they open their mouth, and AOC is definitely one of those people. Kamala Harris is another one.
Well, they're always competing for that title, in my opinion. Yeah, no, AOC, she makes me laugh, honestly, more than she makes me upset, because it's out of pure stupidity and the things that she says. And for example, that infamous thing when she went down to Florida to vacation during COVID, because she was running away from the COVID restrictions in her home state while bashing how bad Florida is. And when what was it? When the paparazzi caught up with her and they found her in Florida, obviously that went viral. What did she say? She said, "Oh, conservatives are just obsessed with me." I mean, that just stuff that makes me laugh so hard, because that's some low level IQ. No common sense. I was going to say common sense, but there's absolutely no common sense in that brain right there.
Yeah, that's that lady's a joke of a person. And I like that the other day there was some guy in New York in her district that was filming everything happening in the district, and he's like, "Hey, AOC." And I think they were cooking rats on the street in New York in AOC's there was rotisserie rats being sold as food on the street in her district. Like, New York, you got to wake up, man. Like, you got to stop this BS, this craziness. You got to hold your politician to a higher standard, or any standard for that matter. Like, imagine, how are you going to tell me what I should do with my life when your district has rats being sold as rotisserie on the street, with clearly there's no way that you can get any kind of a license to sell that. So there's illegal activities happening, and you're not even going to address it. Something else.
Sounds like the progressive mindset to me, but ultra progressive at this point.
Yeah, progressing to stupidity.
Yeah, that might be their slogan, and believe it or not, they'll probably get a bunch of people to vote for them.
Yeah.
Fabian, with all this nasty talk about rats, I think it's best that we shout out another one of our sponsors, the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company, if you're going through New York City's nasty environment, or you're perhaps living in there, then the Wellness Company might be a good company to check out for you. They make incredible stuff, especially these emergency kits that essentially have everything that you need in a kit. And when crazy things happen, like we saw during COVID, they rushed to the stores and bought up all the toilet paper and paper towels, the toilet paper gate, or whatever they called it. That's probably going to end up happening at some point again. So why not have an emergency kit? And the best emergency kit that you can get is from the Wellness Company. So definitely check out the Wellness Company. You can use our coupon Breakaway to save pretty nicely on these emergency kits. And Fabian, I know you have one of these medical emergency kits that you just traveled with to Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like? What was it like having that with you?
It was great, because you never know what you're going to get. And if you don't know what you're going to get, like literally what you're going to get, then you want to have something to fight it. So it's really cool. So if you look at this one of their packs, they have amoxicillin, azithromycin, which is a generic Z-Pack, doxycycline. I can't even say this name. But they have a lot. I have ivermectin, which is basically aside from penicillin, probably the most important medicine that's been discovered. And it has a bunch of different stuff. So you're going to get tons of good stuff in here. They have different kits. They also have things like, if you're not into the kits, but you got the shot, and you know what shot I'm talking about, they even have things like spike support formula, which is super popular. If you did get the shot, then this is something that you can get to stop the inflammation. Because one of the long COVID symptoms that you may not even know you have is that your body keeps creating these spikes, these spike proteins, and that causes massive inflammation in the body. There is a way to get it out. There's a way to stop it. And if you go to their website and you go to their spike support, then you can get something that's going to help you. And if you put Breakaway as your code, you get 15% off the entire site.
So go check it out, guys. Please go check it out. Again, these are companies that sponsor us, which means that they value the values that we bring forth, the work that we do. They like the fact that we work for the idea of freedom and making sure that all our voices are heard. So great companies that are with us in this parallel economy. I absolutely love it. And I think with that, Fabian, unless anything else you want to say, we're going to wrap up the show tonight because we went through everything that's happened in the last week.
Yes, we have. It's things are getting crazier and crazier, and things are happening faster and faster. We're at uncharted waters. We're in times unprecedented. And I think we all say this now. This is the most important election in my lifetime, at least, and maybe in the history of the United States, as far as the presidential election, because communism is once again at the doorstep, and now they have a lot of technology that we didn't have back then to try to win the battle for freedom of speech, for freedoms, and for dignity, and for America. So we need to fight the good fight and keep talking about things, no matter what Instagram says we can or can't talk about, and just making sure that we vote and we get everyone else to vote, and we start waking the entire population up so we can reject this idiocy, this lunacy, this craziness happening in the government and around the world.
Exactly. And I'll leave you with one more thing that just always pops in my mind with the election coming up in 2020 or in November. I keep saying in 2024, like we're not in there already. I heard this on the stage at CPAC. I believe it was Dr. Sebastian Gorka that said this. If you're actively not doing something to help President Trump win in November, then you're actively helping Biden ensure that win. So we here at Breakaway every single day wake up with a mission to expose everything that is happening, because we believe this is the best way to do something on our end. So the best thing that you can do always is like this stuff, share this stuff with your friends, comment on this stuff, because believe it or not, it actually helps us disrupt the shadow banning, the algorithm suppression that they're putting on Breakaway USA and all of us as contributors. So I really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. It was an awesome hour, a little bit over an hour. We love doing these streams and bringing this stuff to you guys. So I'm David Kate. You can follow me literally on YouTube, Instagram, anywhere using that name right there. And Fabian, what about your socials?
You can follow me at Fabian Lux, Luxe. And if you're on Twitter, Fabian_1776.
Beautiful. Fabian, thank you so much. It was a great show. Till next time.
See you guys later.